just a little shorty today to do some stretching. Lovely. Let's do it. So, just working on a bit of mobility and flexibility. So we're just going to do a few rounds of cat-cow just to get all nice and mobile in that spine. So just starting on your hands and knees, starting with a nice neutral spine, taking a nice big deep breath in, dipping in the back, lifting the tailbone and looking forward. And then on your exhale, drawing the belly button up towards the spine, arching through. So we're just mobilizing to begin with. But then as we get a little bit warmer, you can just really exaggerate that movement. Arch up through the spine. Think about each little vertebrae, getting a little bit of a stretch. And just move nice and slow. Let's just slow the pace down. Just work with your own breath. We're going to do 3 more. Let's exaggerate now. Nice big movement. Really arch up. 2 more. And the last one. And then just come back into neutral after that. How nice is that? Going into a little side crunch now. So we're just going to twist in the waist, turn around to look towards your feet. So you're getting a little nip in the waist on this side and stretching down the opposite side. So we're kind of moving in the opposite way to what we just have. And again, just work with your breath. Just moving slow through. Just feel that nice little stretch in either side of the body. Beautiful. After this one, we're going to do 2 more each side. So again, just trying to exaggerate that movement a little bit more. Just increase that stretch. Last one each way. And then just back to neutral. Do any little movements that feel good. If you want to do a little rotate through. Nice little roll. Whatever. Lovely. So now we're going to come all the way onto the back into Happy Baby. This is one of my faves. So we're going to come all the way down onto the back and we're going to grab a hold of the feet like so and lift them up towards the sky just like a baby does. So you want your feet to be facing up towards the sky, trying to think about drawing those knees into the armpits. Now if you can't quite manage the feet, that's all good. You can grab a hold of the backs of the legs or maybe the back of the thigh. But just thinking about drawing that knee towards the elbow. And we're just going to have a moment here to relax. Just feel a nice little stretch into the hips here. And just use this time to bring some calm into the body, some peace into the mind. Just think about how good it feels. If you want to as well, you can just take a little rock from side to side. Just get a little massage in the back too. And just take some deep breaths. Channel your inner baby. Keep trying to draw those knees towards the armpits, remember? Now stay here if you want to, but I sometimes like to just extend my legs as well if that's within your range. All we're going to do is just take that bend out of the legs, and you're just stretching a little bit more into the hamstrings. You can just let those legs fall apart. You've got to hold them with the hands. Same again. Nice breaths. And then whenever you're ready, just come back to that happy baby. And remember, you can stay in any of these stretches a little while longer. It's the beauty of technology. You just click pause. It's great. And then you're just going to let go of your feet. If you want to, you can just take a little rock from side to side here. And then we're going to rock ourselves up to seated. Up to seated. Going into our butterfly. So we're going to bring our feet together. And you want to just try and walk your hips nice and close. As close to those heels as you can. And then we're just going to bend forward from the hips. So we're just going to reach forward here. You can get a nice big curve in the spine here. I don't mind that one at all. So you're trying to get that head to reach down towards the feet here. Just relax over. Nice deep breaths. And you'll feel just that nice little stretch again in the hips and a bit into the inner thigh. What you can also do is just use those elbows to draw the knees down. And it might just increase that stretch for you a little bit. Deep breaths. I like to just use my elbows to draw the knees down a little bit. And then see if I can come a little bit further into that fold. I get quite tight hips, so this is a good one for me. And just taking one last big breath here. And just rolling back up through the spine. Beautiful. Extend those legs away. Coming into your hamstring stretch now. So nice straight legs. Same position. We're just going to lean forward from the hips. This time we're just going to reach for the toes in that straight leg position. Now, hamstrings can be notoriously tight, so don't worry where you get to. Even if you're just here, as long as you feel that stretch down the back of your legs, I don't mind. So just leaning forward. If you want to increase as well, think about flexing the feet, and that'll just tighten up the backs of those legs. Well, it won't, it'll do the opposite. Deep breaths, breathe into it. As your body relaxes, it just gets more and more comfortable in those stretches. Give it time. If it does feel a bit more comfortable, maybe you can come down a little bit further. One last big breath here. And then again, just letting go of that one. Slowly coming back up to seated. You can just roll up through the spine. And then while we're here, let's come into that V-leg position and do the same thing. So we're just going to lean forward from the hips into that V-leg position. So here, I want you just to be aware that your knees aren't rolling in. So try and think about just drawing the knees out all the time. So as you come forward, they don't roll in. And just again, let that body relax down. This one, if you want to increase it as well, just try and widen those legs a little bit too. And just let yourself relax into it. Again, doesn't matter how far you get into it, just with whatever is best for you, wherever you are today. Again, just as you feel your body relax, you might be able to come down a little bit further. Don't worry if you can't. Taking your last big breath here. Exhale, just slowly walk yourself back, up to seated. Give those legs a little wiggle in between. Coming into our shoelace stretch now. One foot, one leg is going to bend in front of us like this, so that knee is directly in front. The other one, we want to stack on top like so. Yeah? So we want to try and get both knees stacked on top of each other. Feet come either side of the body. If this is a bit tricky for you, you can try this one maybe in just a cross leg position, or you can just do the one where we stack either leg, whatever's best for you, or you can even do one where you just extend the bottom leg away and you can still get a little bit of a stretch into this one. This one's for the glutes. So again, we're just going to lean forward from the waist, and you should just feel a little pull into that glute there, and we're just going to let ourselves relax into it. Easing down as the body relaxes. Breathing deeply. Last big breath. And come up. Stay there a bit longer if you want to. I'm just going to move on to the other side. Same again. Moving forward. This one as well, you can increase or just kind of hit like a different area slightly by bringing these feet slightly wider or trying to get them nice and narrow. So play around with it, see what feels good for you, see where you might need stretching, see where you can take it to. Everybody is different. Thank God. Few more breaths here. We've got one last floor one to do. Last big deep breath. And slowly come up. Give your legs a little wiggle off. Now this last one is a little bit gross, so we're not going to stay there too long. You can build it up as you go. and again, you can stay there a bit longer if you want to. We're going to come onto our knees, and we're just going to widen the knees here. So you want those knees to be as wide as you can get them. But, so this is kind of, I guess, like when we do child's pose and that kind of thing. What we want to think about this time is your ankle being directly in line with your knee. Yeah, so your legs are in that same position there. And again, we're just going to push those hips back. So we can come down onto the elbows if you want to. And you're just going to think about drawing the hips back down towards the heels. Yeah? And it's a pretty deep stretch right in those hips. Like I say, it can be a little bit gross, especially if you've got a little bit of tension there. This one, if you want to increase it, you want to think about pushing that bum back a little bit more. You can widen the knees a bit more, or if you still need a bit more, you can widen the feet a little bit, so just bring them even further apart than the knees. Take some deep breaths here. Try and relax. Like I say, we won't stay here too long. I know it's a pretty tight one. Let's go 2 more breaths here. 2 more big deep breaths, nice and slow. And then after your last one, we're going to try and get out of it. That's the hard part. I find it easier to go forward. And just walk yourself forward. And bring your knees back together. And maybe just give those hips a little wiggle in between. I know it hurts, but it's good. We're going to add one in. I wasn't going to do this one, but I am now. We're going to come into a little squat. So, either the very bottom range of your squat if you can, getting those hips nice and low. For you, it might look like this. You might want to just be up a little bit. But if you can sit right down into it, then please do. Keeping those heels on the floor. Chest lifted, no matter what position we're in. Keep that chest up as much as you can. Sitting into it, and we're just going to bring our hands into prayer pose, and we're just going to push down, use those elbows to draw the knees apart. I'm just going to sit here. Another way you can do this as well is just pop those hands onto the floor and just lean your weight into it, and it's just going to push those knees apart a little bit, getting that nice little squat stretch, whichever one you like. Few breaths here, and then we're going to transition. We're going to start making our way back up. Last deep breath. Beautiful. Bring those hands down to the floor, and we're just going to drop the head and lift the hips into forward fold here. And then behind the back, we're going to interlace the fingers, so just grab a hold of each hand, and we're just going to stretch those arms up towards the sky. You should just feel a nice stretch into the shoulders, into the arms, into the back. Deep breath here. Big breath, and then just lower the arms down, let those hands sit just on the back, let the elbows just fall apart, and then let go of the hands, bring them all the way back down to the floor. Just make sure those feet are underneath the hips as we begin to roll up. So take a nice big breath here. Exhale, big bend in the knee. And we're just going to slowly roll through the spine all the way up to standing. And standing nice and tall on the mat. Finishing off with just a little stretch in the neck here. So we're going to grab one, I don't mind which one you start on, one wrist with the opposite hand. So just behind your back, you're just going to grab a hold of the wrist and you're just going to pull down on that arm. So you're just going to create a little bit of tension in this shoulder here. And then on the opposite side, we're just going to drop the ear to the shoulder. So you can see what we're doing. We're trying to create a little bit extra tension there by drawing that arm down. Again, a nice stretch into the neck. And then from here, we're just going to tilt the head forward, looking down towards your toes. Keep pulling down on that arm, using as much or as little tension as you want. And then just tilting that chin forward again. Wrist, hip, shoulder, and then tilting that chin, looking at your toes, your little please. Go. And let's take some nice big deep breaths to finish. Just starting with our hands in prayer pose. Take a big breath in, stretch it up. And exhale. And again. Last one. Biggest breath yet. And a big exhale. Nice work, guys. Hope you feel good after that. Remember, practice makes perfect. Flexibility is important, so keep practicing. And I'll see you again soon.